God of light, God of light, lead me onward forever.
Thank you. That was beautiful. Oh. Well, to talk today is the art of happiness. And I'm going to start by saying that the goal in life is not to be happy in every breathing moment. If anyone's experiencing that, please let me know. I'd love to meet you. But the art of happiness is discerning the happiness and letting it be. So we start with scripture. John chapter 15, verse 11. I have said these things to you so that my joy may be in you and that your joy may be complete. The joy is already within us. It's already inherent in everything that we are, in each and every one of all the human species. Then why don't we know it all the time? Why don't we just get it? It's already there for us. It's kind of like that whole concept of God that's always with us. And we're awakening to be more and more aware of that. Yes? Good, there's a couple of you. It is important that this whole concept of love and peace and order, divine order, is so special in our lives. So it's all there, including joy. Now, as I open this idea, unpack it some more, I bring in the wisdom of co-founder Charles Fillmore, who says, when man thinks a great deal about spiritual things, and especially about God as an indwelling spiritual presence, both mind and body are thrilled with joy and a feeling of satisfaction and the tendency to break out in songs of gladness, which we've done a couple times this morning. So what he's saying here is that the practice of being present to our oneness with God, have our thoughts, our contemplations be centered in God and those high ideals, divine love, divine joy, divine peace, divine order, divine beauty. And then the practice, we begin to walk with the presence in all that we do. It's not enough to say we're one with God. Let's say that. I am one with God.
I am one with God.
Okay, well that's great. It is absolutely true, but is that a lived knowing? Not yet for some of us. But we are ready, we're willing participants in our own spiritual journey to awaken that understanding, to feeling, oh, I'm in the flow and everything seems in its place. Wow, I'm feeling satisfied. And then that joy bubbles up. The joy of being with others, being in community. The joy of figuring out to solve that solution or problem into the solution. The presence is always within us. And the more and more we have this, recognizing that if we think on God ideas, we're one with God. And as we think those thoughts, we begin to walk in the world as the presence. It's not a huge leap, but it takes focus and a consciousness of awakening. So, Dana Gatlin, she was a critic for the New York Times, and then she found unity, and she wrote a whole bunch of books in unity. Here she says, happiness, pure joy, is from within. It is a spiritual entity, a free, inalienable, untouchable gift of God. It doesn't depend on this or that. It doesn't have to be created. It is. Joy is a gift. Now, what good is it to get a gift and not use it? Any ideas? The gift gets stagnant, goes to waste. It goes into hiding. Yes. So if this is true, if our joy is inherent, is already present, then to get in touch with it, we need to get quiet enough that all that outside stuff isn't occupying our being. And letting joy be a foundational principle to guide us, renew us, and help us through challenging times. Krishnamurti, a great mentor, teacher, said, happiness is strange. It comes when you're not seeking it. When you're not making an effort to be happy, then unexpectedly, mysteriously, happiness is there, born of purity, of a loveliness of being. I love this. So happiness is not something. How many of you have ever gone out in search of happiness? Thank you. It's so true. I think it's ingrained in us. We just constantly look outside of us, right? But the things that really make us happy are those things that align with our truth, those things that align with our commitments and our connection. Who has some examples of those moments that bring you great happiness?
Spontaneity.
Spontaneity. I love spontaneity. It's freeing, isn't it? Anyone else? Laura.
When I accomplish something.
When you accomplish something, there's a swell of happiness. For one thing, it's done. Or, wow, I did a good job. I did what I intended to do. Yes, that's very good. Anyone else?
When I see someone else who's happy.
Yes! Isn't it amazing that when we're with someone who's just happy, it's infectious? It's kind of like yawning. Someone yawns, we yawn. When someone's happy, we too can relate and feel that happiness. Yes. Yes, Lucy.
When I experience the birth of my granddaughter, the first one, and then when I'm around them, they're so I'm just pure joy.
Yes. Being present for the birth of a child and then being around them ongoing is the birth of anything, a child, or you plant an avocado tree and it grows and you get avocados. Wow! How does that happen? What a miraculous world this is. The birth of an idea or a life of living. One more example. Yes, Linda.
In the presence of an infant.
In the presence of an infant. Just pick an infant, and in the presence, it's just joy and happiness. Because we're with a life that's so happy to be out of the confines of that little tiny space. It gets bigger, but let's face it, it's tiny house to the max. The blessing of life I experience when I'm with this community. I experience it when I'm of service to others. I experience it in deep and profound ways in the peace and quiet of my meditation and prayer. And I turn once again. I know that I put Martha Smock out here, but she is so clear. I love her books. And she says, joy is the unexpected, often the surprising discovery of anyone who lives close to God, who makes his every thought, his every act, his every breath a prayer to God. Whatever name you give God, God, Goddess, spiritual principle, Buddha, Allah, it doesn't matter. God's much bigger than any of the words we label it. But when we live close to the presence of God, when we open up to that wisdom, to that presence, the same presence that creates the cosmos, galaxies and planets and Brussels sprouts. It's all there, created us in that wonderful wisdom, in all of our wonderful expression. Let's just look around. Just look at some of the people next to you and see how wonderful God is in that expression and that nuance and our life experience that creates this body temple. It's really quite wonderful. And it's all ours in the art of happiness to discern where that connection is, to flow, to satisfaction, to joyous celebration. It's all there for us as a gift. So our personal exploration this week is to navigate our way to find our joy and happiness. The first one is breathe. That's good. Let's breathe again. To breathe and become fully present. It's our best opportunity to be right here where the gift is. The next is explore your moments of joy. We all have different ones. There's things that it could be asparagus soup. It is. Or it could be the art of service and being present to the families that are going to come in for Family Promise. And they come in exhausted because they've worked all day to get their lives in order. And we have the blessing to serve a meal and be present to the love. It's so beautiful. There's all kinds, and we all have those moments of joy. And the third one is notice how service can lead to happiness. Because the act of being of service to others, to help others, has us remove ourselves from our own aches and pains and problems. One of the fastest ways to melt away your troubles is be of service to others. So let's honor our process to use our gifts so freely given by this graceful, loving presence. Because the art of happiness is ours.